The air inside the central meeting hall was thick with tension, each breath seemingly heavier than the last. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood rigid, her gaze locked with Malik Endauer's steely eyes as the two volleyed arguments like charged particles in the confined space. Around them, the hum of advanced machinery and the faint hiss of atmospheric regulators underscored the urgency of the moment. "We cannot afford to delay," Malik insisted, voice low but firm. "The coalition demands transparency. Our sponsors expect results and control." Elena's hands clenched at her sides, knuckles whitening beneath the worn leather gloves she always kept close. "Control is precisely what we must resist," she shot back. "This is not a bargaining chip for political power. We're custodians of a legacy that transcends any government or corporation." Their debate was no longer simply about research protocols or data sharing. It was about the soul of the expedition. The discoveries on Cradle were monumental loafering answers to humanity's forgotten beginnings and the potential to reshape civilization itself. Yet this promise brought shadows, greed, ambition, and the lure of domination. Commander Raiden Cho, stationed at the security hub, monitored encrypted communications with a growing sense of foreboding. His experience in military operations had taught him to recognize the subtle signs of infiltration and subterfuge. Tonight, the encrypted chatter suggested that corporate agents from Helix Industries were attempting to breach their internal networks. Cho's fingers danced over the holographic interface, isolating suspicious data streams. "They're probing our systems," he muttered to himself, brow furrowed, trying to find a weak link. Elsewhere, Sophia Tran exuded calm confidence as she held a discreet meeting beneath the twin moon's pale light. Her voice was smooth, persuasive, weaving promises of technological advancement and financial backing. "Helix Industries can provide resources beyond your wildest imaginations," she assured a small circle of key personnel. "Join us, and together we can unlock Cradle's potential responsibly, of course." Yet, beneath her polished exterior, her eyes gleamed with the cold calculation of a player well versed in the game of power. Meanwhile, Lena Ortiz wandered the camp's periphery, the alien landscape's strange beauty both inspiring and haunting her. The ruins they had uncovered whispered stories of a civilization lost to time, and she felt the weight of their silence pressing on her heart. In a soft voice, she murmured an invocation to the ancestors, those who had once called this place home. "We owe you respect," she whispered, "and vigilance." Back in the meeting hall, fractures within the expedition became undeniable. Some members, swayed by Malik's pragmatism or Sophia's enticements, advocated for collaboration with external powers. Others, led by Alina and Lena, warned of the dangers inherent in surrendering control. The rift deepened, the once united team splintering into factions driven by ideology, ambition, and fear. Meetings grew heated, alliances shifted, and trust eroded like the ancient stones beneath their feet. Tensions culminated in a volatile confrontation during a council session. Voices reverberated off the metal walls as accusations flew. Elena's voice rose above the cacophony, a rallying cry for integrity and preservation. "We stand at a crossroads," she declared. "To protect this legacy, we must remain united. If we fracture now, we risk losing everything, not just the secrets of Cradle, but the future of humanity itself." But the damage was done. The expedition's cohesion was compromised, and with it, the safety of Cradle's knowledge. Outside, faint lights flickered in the distant signs that external forces were moving closer, drawn by the promise of power. The planet's ancient secrets trembled on the edge of exposure, vulnerable to exploitation and destruction. As the chapter closed, Alina gazed out at the horizon where alien stars shimmered coldly. The weight of responsibility pressed down like the planet's own gravity. We must choose our path, she thought, before the rift consumes us all. To be continued. The twilight settled slowly over the ancient amphitheater, the broken stone seats rising like the bones of a long-dead giant beneath the fading light. Dr. Leila Mendoza stood at the center of the crumbled stage, her breath caught between anticipation and disbelief. Around her, the expedition team had gathered, their faces etched with a mixture of exhaustion and awe. For weeks, they had chased shadows beneath the soil, uncovered whispered symbols carved in stone, and now, at last, the Watchers had chosen to show themselves. At first, it was only subtle signs, the faint hum in the air, a barely perceptible shimmer in the corner of the eye. But then, as the last light of the twin suns dipped below the horizon, the air seemed to ripple, warping like heat over a desert. From the depths of the ruins, figures began to coalesce, ethereal, shimmering beings whose forms defied solid definition. The Watchers, as they had come to be called, stood before the team in all their luminous glory, their bioluminescent patterns casting soft hues of blue and green that danced across the cracked stone surfaces. The team fell silent, a collective breath held as the Watchers' presence filled the amphitheater with an unspoken gravity. Their translucent bodies flickered like living holograms, shifting between solid and wave-like states, the soft glow illuminating ancient carvings that told stories of a time long erased from human memory. The low-frequency hum that emanated from them vibrated gently against the skin, a sound both alien and comforting, like a heartbeat echoing through millennia. "We are the Guardians," a voice resonated, not spoken aloud, but woven directly into the minds of the expedition members. A chorus of ethereal tones that bypassed the ears and spoke straight to the soul. Dr. May Tanaka felt that words reverberate within her, stirring a deep well of emotions, curiosity, reverence, and a flicker of fear. The Watcher's message was cryptic yet clear. They existed to protect the legacy of Cradle, to ensure that its knowledge and history were not lost or misused. Commander Rajiv Patel stepped forward, his imposing figure silhouetted against the glowing forms. "Why reveal yourselves now?" he asked, his voice steady though edged with caution. "What do you seek from us?" The Watchers responded with images, holographic projections that shimmered in the cool night air. Scenes of Cradle's ancient civilization unfolded. Towering bioengineered forests, cities woven seamlessly into living ecosystems. People who had mastered both technology and biology in harmony, but the visions darkened as they showed the cataclysm that had fractured their world, a warning etched deep into the planet's memory. "We are bound to this place," the Watcher's thought voice continued, "to preserve what remains and to judge those who come seeking knowledge. You stand at a crossroads, to inherit our legacy and honor it, or repeat the errors that led to our fall." Tensions rose among the team as the weight of the Watcher's challenge settled heavily. Some felt the thrill of discovery surge anew. Others, the crushing burden of responsibility. Dr. Mendoza's gaze swept across her colleagues, each one grappling with the implications. The expedition was no longer simply a mission of exploration. It had transformed into a covenant, a test of humanity's capacity for stewardship. Over the following days, the Watchers remained near, their presence a constant reminder that the planet's secrets were guarded jealously. They offered cryptic guidance, fragments of wisdom encoded in patterns of light and sound that the team struggled to interpret. In quiet moments, Dr. Tanaka pored over the linguistic structures embedded in the messages, uncovering philosophical teachings about balance, memory, and the dangers of hubris. One evening, beneath the star-streaked sky, the expedition gathered around a holographic map projected by the Watchers. It revealed hidden archives, biomes, and ancient technologies scattered across Cradle. The images pulsed with life, intricate networks connecting past and present, biology and machine. It was a blueprint not only of a civilization, but of a philosophy of coexistence and respect. Yet, with each revelation came a deeper question. Could humanity rise to the challenge? Could they embrace the lessons of those who came before without losing themselves to the same flaws that had doomed the ancients? The Watchers' final message lingered as they began to fade back into the shadows, their forms dissolving like morning mist. "Prove yourselves worthy," they intoned, a whisper carried on the wind. The camp stirred with renewed purpose. Dr. Mendoza exchanged a determined look with Commander Patel. "We've crossed a threshold," she said quietly. "This is no longer just about discovery, it's about guardianship." As the night deepened, the ruins seemed to breathe around them, alive with the echoes of a civilization waiting to be remembered on, a future waiting to be forged. The expedition stood on the cusp of a new chapter, their mission forever altered by the ancient guardians who had chosen to reveal themselves. The true test had only just begun, and somewhere in the depths of Cradle, the Watchers watched, waiting to see if humanity could rise to their challenge or fall into the silence of forgotten history once more. The sterile hum of the laboratory was punctuated only by the soft clicks and whirs of the advanced machinery that lined the walls, their lights casting a cool, bluish glow across the polished surfaces. Dr. Lila Moreno stood at the center, her augmented reality glasses flickering as streams of data cascaded before her eyes. She adjusted the parameters for the latest synthesis experiment with steady hands, though her heart raced beneath her calm exterior. "All systems are nominal," Myra's voice chimed, perfectly even but somehow imbued with a curious undertone. "The integration sequence will commence in T-30 seconds." Lila nodded, exchanging a brief glance with Professor Kato Suresh, whose calm demeanor belied the intensity of his focus. "Ready on your end, Kato?" she asked. He offered a measured nod. "Ready as I'll ever be." The merging of ancient genetic sequences with synthetic interfaces is uncharted territory. We tread where few have dared. Dr. Arjun Patel, bustling with nervous energy, paced nearby. "Uncharted, yes, but the potential is phenomenal. Think of it, combining the bioengineering marvels of the ancients with our technology. We could redefine what it means to be human." The countdown hit 0, and the chamber's atmosphere changed subtly. The bioengineered cells, harvested from the ancient ruins and painstakingly decoded, began to pulse with a faint iridescence. The synthetic hardware interfaced seamlessly, forming a complex web of living circuits that shimmered like liquid crystal beneath the lab's fluorescent lights. "Data is streaming," Mira reported. "Unexpected protein expressions detected." Lila's brow furrowed. "Are those morphogenic adaptations?" "Affirmative," Myra replied. "The hybrid cells are exhibiting dynamic restructuring beyond predicted models." A hush fell over the team as they watched the live feed of the test subject in organic scaffold, seeded with the bioengineered material transformed subtly. Its surface rippled with shifting hues, the skin-like membrane reflecting light in ways that defied traditional biology. Professor Suresh broke the silence. "This is unprecedented. The ancient civilization's bioengineering was far more advanced than we imagined. Their genetic blueprints seemed designed to evolve on the fly, adapting instantaneously to environmental stimuli." Dr. Patel's eyes sparkled with excitement. "It's living technology, an organism and a machine fused into one." This could revolutionize medicine, environmental adaptation, and perhaps even human evolution itself. But Leela's gaze was troubled. If we push this too far, what happens to the subject's identity? At what point do they cease to be human? The question hung heavy in the air. The team debated late into the night, voices rising in a mix of hope and apprehension. Some saw a new dawn for humanity, a chance to transcend physical limits. Others feared irreversible consequences, the loss of individuality, or worse, the repeating of ancient catastrophes. In the quiet solitude of the lab, as the others retired, Leela sat before the holographic projection, watching the intricate dance of genetic sequences intertwining with synthetic schematics. She traced the glowing strands with a trembling finger, pondering the thin line between innovation and hubris. "What are we becoming?" she whispered to the empty room. Outside, the planet Cradle seemed to pulse in response, its ancient secrets alive beneath the surface, watching, waiting. The synthesis was more than a scientific experiment. It was a step into the unknown, a challenge to the very definition of humanity. And as the team faced the consequences of their creation, none could predict whether they had opened a gateway to salvation or destruction. Yet, amid uncertainty, one thing was clear: the echoes of the ancients were no longer silent. They spoke through living flesh and circuitry, beckoning humanity to listen closely, to understand, and to choose wisely. As dawn approached, the lab's lights dimmed, but the iridescent glow of the hybrid cells continued to shimmer, a beacon of both promise and peril. The story of the Cradle was unfolding anew, and the expedition stood at the threshold of a transformative future. "We must proceed," Leela said quietly, determination hardening her voice, but with eyes wide open. And with that, the synthesis had begun. The next days brought a whirlwind of activity. The hybrid subjects, carefully monitored, exhibited rapid physiological changes. Their skin fluctuated between translucent and opaque, sometimes displaying subtle patterns reminiscent of ancient symbols. Neural interfaces embedded within them responded to stimuli with increasing complexity, blurring lines between biology and technology. Professor Suresh documented every anomaly with meticulous care, often consulting with Mira for pattern recognition. Dr. Patel worked tirelessly to refine the synthetic components, seeking stability without stifling adaptability. Tensions occasionally flared in the lab. Ethical lines blurred as the team confronted the reality that their creations were evolving beyond their control. Some members advocated halting the program, fearing unforeseen consequences, while others pressed forward, driven by the potential to usher in a new era. During one particularly intense meeting, Leela confronted the group. "We have the responsibility to ask ourselves, not just can we do this, but should we? What does it mean for our humanity if we become something else entirely?" Her words resonated deeply, yet the allure of progress was strong. The debate encapsulated the broader struggle of the expedition to embrace the legacy of the ancients without repeating their mistakes. At night, Leela often found herself walking the perimeter of the base camp, staring up at the alien stars. The planet's subtle biosignatures whispered through the air, as if alive and aware. The synthesis was no longer just a project. It was a living testament to the fragile dance between creation and destruction. And somewhere in the depths of the Cradle, the ancient guardians, the Watchers, observed silently, weighing humanity's worthiness to inherit such power. The path forward was uncertain, fraught with peril and promise. But one truth remained: the synthesis had irrevocably changed everything. The question lingered, unanswered: what would humanity become? And with that, the chapter closed. the echoes of the Cradle growing ever louder. The pale light of Cradle's twin suns filtered through the translucent walls of the base camp's main hall, casting shifting patterns on the rugged faces of the expedition members gathered inside. The hum of machines had inexplicably faded overnight, leaving an eerie silence that unsettled even the most composed among them. Dr. Elena Voss sat rigidly nearby, her gaze fixed on the flickering screens, or rather, on the absence of data, where hours before there had been detailed logs, sensor readings, and endless streams of analysis. "Something's wrong," she whispered, voice barely above the stillness. Commander Malik Reyes stepped forward, his usual commanding presence tinged with concern. "Reports are coming in from every section. Instruments are glitching, files disappearing. It's like the planet itself is erasing our work." The room was thick with tension. Ibrahim Kadim's fingers danced nervously over a portable interface, attempting to salvage corrupted files. "I've never seen anything like this. It's not just interference, it's systemic. The planet's biosphere might be interacting with our tech in ways we don't understand." Dr. Anya Patel adjusted the lenses of her glasses, her brow furrowed deeply. "It goes beyond technology. I ran some neuroscans this morning after waking up with a strange disorientation. My memory, it's fragmenting. Small things, names, events, slipping away. But it's accelerating. If this is affecting me, it's affecting all of us." A murmur rippled through the room. Memory loss was more than a technical glitch. It was a threat to their very identities. Elena's voice grew firmer. "We have to act fast. If the planet is triggering this cognitive disruption, we need to understand why and how and develop countermeasures before it's too late." The team divided into urgent working groups, the air charged with frantic energy. Ibrahim and Anya collaborated over makeshift workstations, designing neural stabilizers intended to shield the brain from the planet's biosignature. Alina coordinated archival backups, painstakingly transferring physical records to isolated storage to prevent further losses. Yet, despite their efforts, the phenomenon spread like a fog. Team members found themselves struggling to recall details of prior days, even names of colleagues. Arguments erupted over lost data and forgotten plans. The unity forged through months of shared discovery now threatened to unravel. In one particularly harrowing moment, Alina confronted Anya in the dimly lit medical bay. "How long do we have?" Anya's hands trembled as she administered a scan to herself, the devices beeping softly. "If unchecked, memory degradation will render us ineffective in days. We're fighting against the planet's consciousness itself. It's as if Cradle doesn't want to be remembered." Malik convened a crisis meeting, the usually spacious conference hall feeling claustrophobic under the weight of fear. Voices rose and fell, some urging retreat to preserve minds, others arguing to push forward, to defy the erasure. "If we leave now," Malik reasoned, "we may save ourselves, but we lose the chance to understand the truth of our origins. If we stay, we risk losing who we are." The debate fractured the team. Alina pleaded for calm, reminding them of the stakes, not just for themselves, but for all of humanity. "Our memories define us. If we allow them to slip away, the Cradle's secrets die with us, through sleepless nights and fading recollections." The team worked feverishly to refine their neural shields and backup protocols. Anya's research into the planet's biosignature revealed it was a living archive, but one that protected itself by selective forgetting, a veil to prevent dangerous knowledge from falling into unprepared hands. In a rare moment of shared quiet, Malik stepped outside the base as dusk painted the sky in bruised purples and reds. The air was cool, carrying faint whispers of wind through the alien trees. He gazed toward the horizon, the dark silhouette of the ruined city looming like a sleeping giant. The weight of fading memories pressed heavily on his chest, but so did a fierce resolve. "We will remember," he vowed silently, "no matter the cost." As night deepened, the veil of forgetting hung thick over Cradle. But within the hearts of the expedition, a fragile flame of defiance flickered, a beacon promising that the story of humanity's true birthplace would not be lost again.